think it was
You said
1932.
after World War One, didn't World War One end in like?
Yeah, but it was after World War One that this happened.
Everything since 1920 something is after World War One, right? That coronavirus that happened after World War One, Randy. Why couldn't you just keep him out with a fence or something?
We're gonna get there.
Yeah. So hey, Randy, what did you? Hey, I saw that on the internet this week.
What did you answer? This week on the internet, I saw the Great Emu War.
Ooh.
When I first read about it, I'm like, this is the stupidest but yet best thing I think I've ever read. So let me give you a little history to leading up to the war.
Yeah, sure.
The Great Emu War.
I'm excited. I don't know anything
So
about it.
It happened just after, I believe, World War One. The Australia government had all their soldiers come back, and they gave a lot of the soldiers farmland to make wheat out west in Australia.
Okay.
This had come after the U.S. had put on some trade tariffs, and it made everything more expensive for them to buy. So they needed to start making their own produce.
That's
basically
why we did it. We wanted them to stand on their own.
Yeah, we wanted to say, "Hey, you Australians,
yeah,
eat dirt."
That's the whole reason that we put. We want to make other people stronger.
Strengthen their own wheat fields.
Sure. Yeah.
So long story short, the government was like, "Hey, we need farmers. You don't have stuff to do. Here's some land. Go farm it." As one does.
Yeah, I can tell that you had a lot of farming experience.
Yeah, not even my great grandpa. My grandpa was a dairy farmer. He had a.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Being from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I bet everybody was.
Yeah, everyone's grandparents were dairy farmers.
Yeah, mine were tobacco farmers. Not my grandparents, but we had growing up seeing dried up tobacco in barns.
My grandpa's.
So what we're saying is that we are both experts on the topic of farming.
Yeah,
and we are going to
expert farmers.
Yeah, we're gonna know so much.
You know how many Amish people I've met? Dozens.
That's the qualification?
Yeah. Being a good farmer, meet a lot of Amish people.
Yeah, it's about how many Amish people. That's why the Amish are good farmers, because they meet so many Amish people.
Yeah, it just compounds. Yeah. Anyway, so they plow in their fields, they grow all their wheat, and then these emus, which is, I believe, their country's bird, we have the bald eagle. They have the emu.
They put the emu on their quarters and everything.
I don't know about that, but I think it's their national bird.
Don't compare anything to America's love for the bald eagle.
Nothing compares to America.
There's no bird more beloved by any country.
Actually, Guatemala has the quetzale. They might be extinct at this point, because I think back in 2012 when I went to Guatemala, I think they only had 7 left. So they might be extinct by now, and they love their quetzale. I could also be saying that wrong. It might be a quetzale. Forget.
Did they declare war on the quetzale?
I don't know the history there, but I think they were poached at one point.
That's not the same as a war.
Yeah, not the same as a war. Anyway, so hordes of emus started invading these farms once all the wheat was starting to grow. And the funny part was, it wasn't even that they ate most of it, is that they were trampling all the grain.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So they ate some of it, trampled the rest, and then because they did that, all the rest of the vermin were able to move in and eat what was on the ground.
It's not as dense anymore.
Yeah. So I don't know, because if you're a bunny, I don't know if you can just chop a wheat.
I didn't know birds could eat wheat. This is kind of
it might be
my
just
mind.
a big bird thing. Not the big yellow one, but
not big bird.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any. I mean, I'm sure that if you watch enough Sesame Street, you're bound to see Big Bird eating a sandwich that's got wheat. Right?
Yeah. Probably somewhere.
Yeah, any large bird, therefore,
can eat wheat.
Yeah, if Sesame Street's trying to teach you stuff.
The government was sponsoring all these farms, right? So they're well, all these emus are ruining our crops. So they have to they declared war on the emus to like get rid of them from the fields. So there's an estimated 20,000 emus that they're trying to dispose of.
So there are 20,000 emus that are like invasive to farms.
Invasive to,
like,
yep.
They're trying to get rid of them.
Yep.
So what do you mean declare war? Like
They literally
like an
went
act
to
of government?
Yeah, an act of government. They passed some kind of bill or whatever to be like, we are sending supplies to Western Australia to combat these birds.
Did they officially like name it a war?
I don't think they called it a war.
That's
but they
really
passed a bill
disappointing.
of like, hey, we're gonna go help these people.
So
like,
it's just like a vernacularly known
yes,
thing. Of
yes. I think it was like
that's
made a war by their media.
yeah. Wait, by the the media of the time, like
Yeah.
you could get newspapers from the 1920s. You said it was after World War
I think
One,
32.
right?
I think it was
You
1932.
said after World War One, didn't World
Yeah.
War One end in like?
Yeah, but it was after World War One that this happened.
Everything since 1920 something is after World War One, Randy.
It was okay. I literally had after World War One in 1932. Like,
When did World War One end? We should know this.
I'm embarrassed not to know this. I'm gonna look it up. It ended in 1918.
Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, I was like, am I way off? I thought it was 1914 and 1918.
It might be.
Yes, 1932. Hey, did you see that? Did you see that coronavirus that happened after World War One, Randy? That's
I think maybe what it was is what they gave the soldiers from World War One the farmland, and that's why they preface it with like after World War One.
So did they give them the farmland in 1932?
Yeah, it was like 31, I think.
They gave it. They also gave it to them after the War of the Roses. They also gave it to them after. There's a lot of wars that they gave it to them after. The Battle of Marathon. There's a ton of wars.
I don't know my wars. Anyway, so they sent soldiers. I believe at first it was just two soldiers armed with machine guns to take out groups of emus. The emus, however, were not impressed. They dodged the bullets with ease and continued their rampage. The soldiers were forced to retreat, tails between their legs, as the emus looked on with amusement. So
Wait, they actually had to flee?
yeah, they had to make two attempts out of this, but we're gonna get there. So their first attempt, they basically set up a machine gun, sprayed and prayed, hoping to kill a bunch of emus, just mow them over, and into about a crowd of like 1,000 emus, and they got 50. Can you imagine just like this huge herd of emus, 1,000 of them, crowding around then their own little packs? I think they said they're packs of like 6 to 8, and then in each pack they'd have a lookout, and that lookout would tell the rest of them to run because they were all like got their heads in the dirt. But you got like 1,000 emus in this field. You set up your machine gun and just only get 50 of them.
5%.
And I have to imagine this thing's like a.
Yes,
But you only get 50?
All right. Yeah.
So on November 2nd, 1932, some 50
After World War One.
Yeah, some 50 emus were slain. As the birds were out of range of the guns, the local settlers attempted to herd the emus into an ambush. But the birds outsmarted the soldiers, split into small groups, and ran different directions, so they are difficult to target. Like, the fact that they outsmarted them was just...
Well, it's not only did they outsmart them, but like what they did was, we didn't expect them to run away from us killing them. If only we could have foreseen this. Yeah. I thought they would just stand there docilely as we shot them a lot.
Or at least, like, you would think that you could get them all before they ran away, but, like, I don't know. So, the soldiers recouped. The soldiers recouped. Unwavered, on November 4th, the government sent in a second wave of soldiers, armed with better weapons and a more aggressive strategy. They managed to kill a few emus. However, after about 12 kills, the guns jammed. Out of another 1,000 birds, only 12 were slain.
All right, so we went down from 5% to 1.2%. That's how many? How many emus did you say were like the goal? Like how many total needed to die?
There's about an estimated 20,000 emus.
20,000 emus, and so far we have killed about 60.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, off to a great start.
So the next day, one of the soldiers went as far as to mount a machine gun on the back of one of the trucks. However, this proved to be very ineffective as the truck was unable to gain on the birds because of the terrain. And the ride was so rough that the gunner was unable to take any shots. The operation was brought to an end. This is where I don't understand it though, because they couldn't catch the birds. Well, I read this on one of the sources. The operation was brought to an end when one of the emus got stuck in the steering wheel of the truck.
All right. Stuck in the steering wheel of the truck.
All I'm imagining is like this emu running along the truck while it's like, whoa, it doesn't have like a suspension. And then he's like sticking his head in, like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And like gets his head stuck in the steering wheel. That's all I'm imagining.
I don't know what it is about the verbiage of emu got his head stuck that implies to me that it didn't die. Like it had its head stuck. To me, that implies that it's still alive as it's like,
it might have got away.
Probably did from the way this.
Yeah, those Star Troopers shooting at.
That's what I love about the internet too, is that sometimes you'll come across just funny sentences that you can't find any more information about. Like,
and I saw that nowhere else, so I'm not sure that it's true, but I saw it. So far, 2,500 rounds of ammunition have been fired. The number of birds killed is uncertain, but one account estimates about 50. They gave up, but then came back for round 2, killing about 100 emus per week.
oh, that's pretty.
That's
That's awesome. That still doesn't seem like very many.
No.
For like giant herds of emu, but okay.
When all was said and done, about 980 emus had been killed at about 10 bullets per one emu. 10 bullets per one emu.
Even if like they're big birds, I would think you could still drop it in one bullet. Like I don't think it, but like give it two.
Well, that's
three,
the thing though. There was a quote by the guy. I didn't write it down. There was a quote by like the general that was like leading the operation, where he was like comparing them to the tanks he saw in World War I, because he's like, these things are freaking impenetrable. Like we line them up with bullets and they still run away unscathed. I'm just like, I don't know how to throw this in there, so I'm just gonna leave it out. Like he had some giant quote about like, these things are
the resiliency of the emu.
Yeah, these things are tougher than bullets, man.
Wow. Okay. I mean, you know, maybe benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's not so ridiculous.
Yeah,
Number.
I mean, I haven't looked into like, maybe it's because I don't know the like organ dynamics of a
Biology.
Yeah,
You're looking for the word biology.
I don't know the biology of an emu, but like maybe it's like organs are like that much of the bird. Like I don't know, like. What do your organ dynamics look like, Bradley? Your organ dynamics in good shape.
I'm sorry. I gotta go to the doctor. Something's up with my organ dynamics.
in my head. Oh my gosh.
I'm ugly laughing. I'm like trying to read it. I can't drink. I don't even remember what you had started saying.
The organ dynamics of an emu. Maybe they're only this big, so it's hard to shoot them and kill them.
Have you ever had that thing where your like ab muscles hurt?
Yeah.
Laughing?
Yep. All right. I gotta find where I was. Okay. That was a good one.
Call.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The Australian government eventually gave up on this operation,
Yeah,
realizing
the organ
that
dynamics were too complicated.
oh my gosh.
We can't kill them. We don't know what they do. It's like a wormhole. Like blood goes in one, but it, like coal comes out the other. It's confusing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Realizing that they were no match for the emus, the birds had won, and they knew it. They continued to roam the countryside, eating whatever they pleased, laughing at the hopeless soldiers as they failed to stop them.
So,
I got 3 more paragraphs.
oh, yeah.
There's more.
Like the thing that I feel like I should have asked why by now, like, why couldn't you just keep him out with a fence or something?
We're gonna get there. Oh man.
I should have put the mic farther away when I was doing that.
Okay, so at this point, the farmers were so poor that when it came time for tax season, let me back up. At this point, they gave up the army, the whole thing with machine gunning them down. Instead, they gave bounties on each emu that the farmers would kill and turn in. So the farmers would get money from killing the emus and bringing them back. At this point, the farmers were so poor that the time came for tax season, and some farmers would try paying their taxes in dead emus.
What's the exchange rate?
I don't know. I couldn't find the number.
You said tried. Did he succeed?
I
I
don't think it succeeded like that.
So, like, what I like about this is that there were multiple occurrences of people coming up and being like, hey, you owe us taxes. And they were like, hold on.
I got 2 of these.
Like, still dripping blood, not like dressed and cleaned or anything. Just like,
Fresh this
you
morning.
want these? And it's like, and the tax collector's like, oh, another one? No. Fine, throw them in.
I'm not dead yet, like the scene from Monty Python. Throw it in the back of a truck.
The bird's just like, just like
I think I'll get better. My organ dynamics are intact. All right, so moving on. Okay, so when they started the whole operation, the estimated number of emus was 20,000. The farmers, over a 6-month period, had turned in 57,000 emus for bounty.
wait, what?
Yep.
So wait, they were failing, and then the farmers turned in
57,000 emus.
I can't even count. Like that's what, like
Just
90%?
under 3 times as many as they
wanted to kill.
As they thought were out there.
Oh my
They only thought there were 20,000.
Oh, they only thought there were 20,000 total.
Yeah, but the farmers killed 57,000 of them. So, and that's in 6
They
months.
just like turned it over to the farmers, and they
Yeah.
they just handled it. Like,
Yeah. I don't know if they gave the farmers guns or not. but the farmers got the job done.
What a magnificent sentence. I don't know if they gave the farmers guns or not. What a moment in time.
So this last sentence was straight off the last sentence of the Wikipedia page. Similar to how last week you could not have written it any better.
Yeah.
This was I think arguably the best sentence I read about this whole thing.
The Wikipedia writers are funny, man.
They have their own dry sense of errant comedy.
Yeah, I was like my thing is going to start out with a direct quote from Wikipedia.
Amen. So throughout 1930 and onward, no, it wasn't 1930. Might have been 33. Might have mistyped that. Through 1933 and onward, exclusion barrier fencing became a popular means of keeping emus out of agricultural areas.
Called it.
It's like the whole thing was unsuccessful, so they built fences.
It sounded very. They killed 57,000 emus dead, and then they were like, "Oh, what if we put up fencing?"
What if?
It just finally occurred.
What if we built a fence?
I love that they're like, that became popular at the time. We've had agriculture for 2,000 years at this point. No, more than that. It was like, we've had agriculture for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
It's like the first thing civilization got. That's why civilizations happened.
You build a wall, you build a fence, you build something to show this is...
You can't build walls around your agriculture. Wow.
Yeah. This blew me
That's
away.
pretty phenomenal. I had seen it on Reddit. Like I had seen like the headline, like the Great Emu War. And I always just assumed like, okay, there's nothing more to this than the headline, the Great Emu War of 1932 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And but it's a very emotionally charged topic, Randy.
Oh my god!
I already used that joke on him. That's why he's not laughing hard.
No. You ain't gonna give me twice with that one.
But that's good,
harder
man.
than that.
That is a great. That is a great. Hey, I saw that on the internet.
I agree. It brought me joy to research. Bradley,
Randy,
what did you... Hey, I saw that on the internet this week.
What I saw on the internet this week is a page on Wikipedia, the life of a man named Timothy Dexter.
Timothy Dexter, okay.
Yeah.
Is this like... Was he based off the guy with like Dexter's Laboratory? Is the same? No. Any connection?
He's no, I can't say that it does.
Okay.
Not Timothy Dexter, not the show about the serial killer guy.
Well, I was thinking like the cartoon.
No, I know, not Dexter. That's what I said. Dexter's Laboratory. I didn't think Dexter's Laboratory was about like the laboratory of the serial killer.
Oh,
there's two different Dexters.
I haven't seen the other Dexter.
Yeah, it's not none of these three Dexters are related.
Why did they name that show when we already had Dexter's Laboratory? Like, they're just confusing people at this point.
I don't think anybody's ever gotten those two shows mixed up. They're
maybe not,
different.
but like, hey, did you see Dexter last week? Like, it's been
again,
canceled for 30 years. Like, what do you mean?
They were probably about 10 years apart.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, but Timothy Dexter. So, just like you ended with a direct quote from Wikipedia, I'm going to start with one.
Wow, it all comes full circle.
Yeah, it comes full circle.
It's a circle.
Okay, Timothy Dexter, January 22nd, 1747 to October 23rd, 1806, was an American businessman noted for his writing and eccentricity.
Eccentricity? What does that even mean?
Eccentricity. Sorry, I think I might have mispronounced it.
I don't know what that means either.
An eccentric? Like a really eccentric person? Like.
Oh, okay. So electric personality.
No, more like just wild and random kind of tidbits here and there of just like unexpected personality traits and quirks and characters.
So I would equate him to like a SpongeBob.
I wouldn't equate him to anybody, and you'll see why. He's a pretty interesting person.
Okay.
I often so we're gonna get into him. He's a businessman. He's also an author. He's an author of a book called A Pickle for the Knowing Ones, and we'll get into that a little bit more later.
A pickle?
Yeah, like a pickle, like you know, like a
cucumber.
Like when you're in a pickle.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like
when you're in a
little
sticky
conundrum.
situation.
It's like a challenging little conundrum for the knowing ones.
Okay.
Randy, I often think about people that are remembered, right? Like people that are like famous historical figures. And like some of them great artists, some of them great, like great artists, musicians, historical leaders, people that have like the important people that have like really championed beliefs or notions, things like that, right?
People who get like written about on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, it's just a fascinating thing of just like, why do people get remembered? Like, not that I think being remembered is something to like aspire to in some way. Plenty of happy people don't post on the internet for clout. Anyway,
I'm not one of those people.
yeah. You've dragged me down with you.
Yep.
into this. There's tissue paper. Okay.
What the?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that this man, more than anything else, is remembered for being incredibly lucky.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you like a little bit of backstory about this guy. He dropped out of school when he was 8 years old. He worked on a farm for that time until he was 16, became a tanner's apprentice. Just a working class guy.
Okay.
Uneducated, dropped out of school.
Same.
At 22, he married a 32-year-old woman. She was a widow. Her name was Elizabeth Frothingham, I think is how you say it.
Sure.
And she was pretty wealthy, like, pretty well-to-do. Not like crazy, insanely wealthy, but she had some money. They opened a small shop together. It seems like he opened a small shop and she opened like a separate, like they just sold stuff out of their house.
Okay. So like two shops in one house kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so. Like one of the pages I saw said that she sold notions. I don't know what that is. So
is that fortune teller?
Like, he sold like gloves and stuff. So again, like I said, this guy, he's just kind of characterized by his luck, right? Like I wouldn't say like him marrying somebody's lucky. I wouldn't, but it kind of starts after they get married. Because after they get married, he spent thousands on continental currency. He spent thousands of dollars on like I'm pretty sure it was like the currency, because remember 1747. This is like pre-Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
So he spent money on the money that was used in the colonies, and he just like bought up a whole bunch of it.
Yeah.
And like everyone's like, why are you doing like nobody else thought to do this, because the old government's money isn't going to be worth anything in the new government.
Sure.
But it turned out they reimbursed for the money. The Congress, they like decided, we'll pay you 10% of your money as like new money. So that's kind of where his luck began. For some reason, nobody knows why. He just bought a bunch of money, which I didn't know you could, like, you just buy money.
Like at a bank or something?
Like, yeah, I guess he just like exchanged it for continental currency. Everyone's like, why are you doing that? Like, we're about to be our own government.
Yeah.
And then the government just like paid him a bunch of money for it. So he used that money to begin an export business. This is where things kind of started to get interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So nobody liked him.
Nobody liked him.
Yeah.
Interesting fact number one. Everyone hated this guy.
Yeah, he like spent all his time like trying to break into like the upper class, right? He kind of like he wanted like it seemed to me like what this guy wanted was, and we're gonna get into this because there's a lot of ways. He wanted like notoriety. He wanted to be like recognized as somebody that like a great person is what like he was aspiring to be remembered in history for the right reasons. Okay. So he was uneducated. He like tried to get into politics to like become part of the upper crust.
Upper crust?
Yeah, like the.
Is that a phrasing?
Yeah, you've never heard that? Like
is that a phrasing? Is that a phrase?
Upper crest, maybe? I don't know.
I've never heard that in my life.
I think I'm not.
Maybe I'm so far away from the upper crust that like I think of like
the more you say it, the more I'm like, nope, I made this up. Like, there's no way this is right.
the upper crust to me is like when Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza. That's the upper crust.
Top layer. No, but he tried to break into politics, right? And they made him the official informer of deer was his position that they just like gave him because he was pestering the government to get a position.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
They caved, huh?
Yeah. Randy, there were no deer in Massachusetts.
So when you first said it, I thought it was like a government phrasing of
Nope.
like deer,
Like from what I can tell, it seems like it was like, oh, you're gonna be our deer surveyor. There's no deer. It's not. They don't have them. They didn't have them in Massachusetts at the time.
That's hilarious.
Yep. So again, like he was trying to break into like the like high society. He wanted to be like, he wanted some notoriety and all that. Nobody liked him, and everyone was trying to sabotage his business. And from what I can tell, people just kept giving him bad advice intentionally, and he kept failing upwards. So they told him,
Failing upwards.
they told him, what you need to do is you need to ship bed warmers, which were very common in New England because it gets cold in New England. So like, It's like this little, it's like a holder of coals that you put under your mattress to warm up your bed.
That doesn't seem dangerous.
I don't know, man. They did it like.
Weren't their beds made of like hay at that point?
I don't know.
That seems dangerous.
Yeah, but but it was useful because it got cold at night, so they would like warm up their beds with bed warmers. Yeah. So they told him to ship them to his political rivals. Told him what you need to do is ship those to the West Indies because they don't have any. We don't have any there because it's really hot in the West Indies, Randy. So he ships bed warmers to the West Indies. They get there. His captain realizes like they're never going to buy these, so he sells them as ladles, and they make a killing.
Oh my god!
So he makes money on them trying to sabotage him. So then they told him, okay, well that didn't work. What he needs to do, you need to send wool mittens to the West Indies, and he's like, okay, well I try that.
So you steered me so well the first time.
It's like, what could go wrong? So he sends wool mittens to the West Indies. Asian merchants buy them up and sell them to Siberia. So he makes a killing again. So then they tell him, okay, well, what will really make you money is if you ship coal to Newcastle. Newcastle was a mining town. It had a coal mine. So he ships coal
wait.
to Newcastle.
I want to guess how he made money here.
Yep.
So he ships the coal there. Someone's got to buy it. Mm-hmm. But is it because they are shipping out all of their coal already, so they don't have any coal in the town?
Nope, they don't have any coal in the town because the miners went on strike.
Oh my goodness.
And the coal got there right in time for when all the miners quit working in the mine.
Can you imagine being one of the miners and they're just like, all right, if we go on strike, they're not going to have any coal. And then they're like on day one, they're like, strike. And this guy rolls up in his wagon.
Solve the problem.
He's like, get your coal in. Hey, we got your coal in.
Well, like imagine being the people that keep telling him this, like, do this. And it's like, thanks guys, that was a great business tip. And they're like, it was a what? So, no, like it keeps going. Like he sold gloves to the South Sea Islands. Again, hot. Again, bought by Chinese merchants.
And resold.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
They told him what you really need to do, you need to export Bibles to the West Indies. Got bought by missionaries. Like all of them got bought out. They told him, you need to send cats to the Caribbean. And he sends them there and like, this is great. This will take care of the rats. And they had a big rat infestation at the time.
That is just either he's so good at making the best of a worse situation or the stars are just aligning.
I cannot tell if this guy's a genius or not. I have one more incredible business decision. Wikipedia doesn't explain this anymore. He accidentally bought whale bones. I don't know.
Well, wasn't like George W. Bush's teeth like whale bones? So like that might have been a thing you could just get at this time.
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think he meant to buy it. I think I read somewhere else he thought it was something else that was like maybe he thought it was like ivory or something. And he just like, bought a bunch of it and then found out
if
it was
it's
whale
new,
bones.
it's probably looks similar.
Maybe, but he used it to make corsets. And like this apparently was used for like keeping them in shape or something. I don't know, but he made money off the whale bones that he bought on accident too. So everything that this guy touched, it was just like an absolute joke. He managed to like turn it into something good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So like all of this was just him, like this was how he made money. Like it's just all of these wild business ventures that just ended up failing upwards. Like it all, it all started with him marrying this widow and then buying currency, and that just flukily, I don't know if that's a word.
By fluke.
Yes. He made a bunch of money on that. And then he had started an export business after that. But yeah, he was based out of Newburyport, Massachusetts. Made a fortune completely by luck. And that's not all. I haven't gotten into the character of the man at all. He was an interesting person outside of all this.
Okay.
You got to imagine that the guy that caused people to want to sabotage him so much, he had some interesting personality.
Everyone probably loved him, except at first we said everyone hated him. So I don't.
Yes, yeah, an interesting guy. That's spam call, I think.
Don't they know we're recording a podcast?
Yeah,
you should answer it right now.
I'm not. No, I don't have any desire to like talk to a robot and let's just be like,
yeah. Oh. Is the owner of the household there?
Yeah.
That's the new one they're doing.
I don't even answer anymore. So the character of the man, right?
Okay.
So remember when I said that this guy wanted to be like known as like a great man?
Yeah, the cream of the crust.
Yeah. So he bought a house in Newburyport, and by the way, like the whole reason he's in Newburyport, Massachusetts, is that like they didn't want him in Boston. Like,
we don't want you here. So go to Newbury.
Yeah, Newburyport. Come on.
I don't even know where that is.
Right. It's in Massachusetts.
It's in Massachusetts.
Yeah. That's all I really know about. Again, like everything that you find about any of these guys, it's like a little bit vague. And like any of these like funny historical things that we come across, it's like nobody really cared to preserve this history, but then the internet dug it up.
It's like gossip's so good,
yeah,
it's stuck for years.
It just feels like when you find something like this, all of like the pages that you're finding are like copying off each other of like, oh, here, like this feels phrased eerily similar. Like they're all just plagiarizing each other.
Yeah.
But they're all like open
He probably
sources.
had a pet dinosaur.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. He didn't have a pet dinosaur. He had but he bought a house in Newburyport and he decorated it in some interesting ways. First of all, the house, he put on minarets, which, do you know what minarets are, Randy?
Is it like stilts for a house?
No. There are the towers that you commonly see at mosques.
Oh, those like bubble looking ones?
No, like the spires, like the spires on like the side. Yeah, not like the center one, but like, like these little.
In my brain, I have like the Russian looking ones. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, kind of like that same like kind of a thin spire on like the towers around. Yeah, so he decorated a house with those. On top of it, like in the center of the house, on top was a golden eagle. Again, America, our love of eagles. I hope we didn't cut that take out where we talked about eagles. Hopefully, that is an actual callback and not the version that we cut and didn't record. Again. Wikipedia not giving all the helpful details. He had a mausoleum for himself.
Whoa.
He's not dead.
That's odd.
I know.
Yeah. In his house?
Just like somewhere on his property in Newburyport.
Weird.
I imagine it's a pretty sizable house. The guy was pretty rich.
I wonder if his house is still there.
I think it is.
Should we go on a vacation?
I would love
to.
Take a trip? I need to find... Well, we need to find out if this next part is still in existence. Because this is the most interesting part.
Okay.
Were the 40 wooden statues of notable historical figures, including George Washington, William Pitt, Napoleon Bonaparte, Thomas Jefferson, and of course Timothy Dexter.
Trying to put himself with others notable people.
Yes, you wanted to be like. And
there's Timothy Dexter right next to George Washington.
Yeah, his was his statue had an inscription on it. Quote: "I am the first in the East, the first in the West, and the greatest philosopher in the Western world, end quote.
Just a little full of
Yeah,
himself.
do you see why people didn't like this guy? He was an interesting cat. Yeah, that was where he lived. That was one of his properties. When he did have visitors, and they saw that he would tell his visitors about how his wife had died. She was alive. She was not dead. He just told them that she had died. And then when they did see his wife at the property, they were like, isn't that... It's like, no, that's her ghost. And he would tell people that the woman living with him was the ghost of his wife.
What a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Who does that?
Well, Randy, if faking his wife's death wasn't enough for you, at one point, he also faked his own death.
Who else did that the other day that was...
Somebody else faked their death?
Yeah, I think it was someone like avoiding taxes or something I was reading about. I think it's another story I was looking into. Someone faked their own death.
Well, we should have like a fake their own death special.
Ooh, that would be good.
Yeah. No, but this...
Put that one away.
He had about 3,000 people at his wake. Okay?
Oh.
About like a pretty big turnout. He's, again, pretty notorious figure. There were a lot of people there to mourn, and among the mourners, of course, was his wife.
Who was dead.
He was dead. Yeah. He decided that his wife wasn't sad enough. And so some people heard like some kind of ruckus, and they were like, what's going on over there? He was caning his wife for not being sad enough.
Just beating her in the back?
Beating her with a cane because she was not sad enough.
What the heck?
He was like, you should be crying. I'm dead.
But she knows he's still alive.
Yeah, no, I don't think she did. I think that he faked it to her too. I'm not 100% sure. It might be that like she knew he was alive, so she like couldn't act. But I don't know.
Here's what I want to know.
He said otherwise. He was really happy with his funeral. He was like, yeah, it was great. I'm happy.
He was like, I want to be around for my funeral. So let's have one before I'm actually dead.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to know. Was he in the casket when he can't have been?
No, he wasn't in. Like they like lowered the casket down and everything from what I saw, and then just what's going on over there?
He wasn't in like the visitation.
No,
Weird.
He was a pretty awful dude, just beating his wife at his own funeral.
What a man! Like when I think of like historical people, I always assume like people from like the 1700s, 1800s were like a little sophisticated.
Yeah.
Like
I think Timothy Dexter also assumed that about Timothy Dexter.
But like I never think of people who were like in history to be like that maniacal. It's not maniacal, but like
kind of
self-absorbed. I don't think of people in history as self-absorbed.
Well, like, Randy, there's nothing new under the sun. Like people
nothing new.
Are the same today as they were. And it's like when you think about that, it's like Timothy, you know Timothy Dexter's in your life. They just didn't get as lucky as the Timothy Dexter that was Timothy Dexter.
They didn't sell Bibles to the Appalachians or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't like happen to get them to where missionaries were. Well, Randy, I think that the only other thing worth talking about is again, I mentioned the man was an author, right? Mm-hmm. So his book was called A Pickle for the Knowing Ones, which again, this guy, he wanted nothing more than to be like accepted. So the whole book was nothing but him just rambling, complaining about his political opponents, complaining about like the people of the time, notable people, complaining about his wife. Like it was just like ramblings. And when I say it was ramblings, I really mean it. It was 8,847 words.
Oh.
With no punctuation.
Just one big run-on sentence.
Yes. Just all of it all together. No contraction, no like apostrophes, nothing. Like absolutely no punctuation. He did, because again, he dropped out of school when he was 8. He didn't know like, how to write that well.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he published it himself. It was kind of a hit, like kind of took off. You had to like get a publisher involved. I think that people bought the book because it was so funny about how bad it was. Like, I think it was like
you
the
gotta
original.
read this thing. This dude's
so
full of
bad
himself.
It's good. Yeah. So he published a second edition, and in the forward to it, he just put 11 lines of punctuation. And just kind of told his readers, like, yeah, just put these wherever in the book. Like, I know you guys said I didn't have enough last time, so added it in. Do with it what you will.
The second edition.
Yeah, and then he said, his exact quote was, "They may pepper and salt it as they please." Now, the reason I'm reading it like that is because it was also full of misspellings. It was they the first time was THAY, pepper is PEPER. Salt is SOLT.
Salt.
Salted. Please is PLESE. None of it was spelled right.
Not
it was
even
all
PLZ.
Horrible punctuation. Yeah. So to be fair, there is an aspect of Timothy Dexter where he seemed to like brag a little bit about how good he was at playing dumb. So it's kind of uncertain if he was like really eccentric. Or
He must
like,
have had someone spell check his like statue. In his
yeah,
mausoleum.
that's what I was thinking. Like when I read it, I'm like, wait, I know what's coming later. Why is this spelled right? Why does this make sense? Like, yeah, he must have like told the person what he wanted on it, and they were like, okay, I know how to spell, so I'll put that on the. Again, statues made of wood. I don't know like how 40 of them. So I think that I think I read somewhere those got ruined, but if not, we need to go see those.
Man, that would be not on Seven Wonders, like maybe the 8th wonder of the world right there. His mausoleum.
Yeah, it's incredible. A mausoleum really was one of the 7 wonders.
What I want to know is, does anyone still have a surviving copy of one of those books? And how much could I fetch for it at the Antique Roadshow?
Can we check eBay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, I know that A Pickle for the Knowing Ones is available on Project Gutenberg online. If anybody wants to go and read it.
What is Project Gutenberg?
Do you not know about Project Gutenberg?
No.
Wow. I didn't know you were that illiterate. No, I'm kidding. Project Gutenberg is it's a free online repository of all of the works in the public domain.
Oh, interesting.
So, like, if anything's notable and in the public domain, Project Gutenberg nonprofit just works to preserve that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So you can go on there right now and read the original Winnie the Pooh novel from Milne, A.A. Milne.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, that's how. Just entered. Great Gatsby entered a couple years back too.
All right.
A lot of good stuff's coming up. I think in like the next 10 years.
Yeah, because like
gonna start coming
stuff
in.
in the 1920s. My birthday is coming up, though. What are you gonna get me for my birthday, Bradley?
A new podcast, a new episode of
A new
Hey, I
episode.
saw that on the internet.
Hey, I saw that on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, do we
depending on
have
what day of the week it is?
Do we have a social media page of the week this week, Bradley?
Do you think our viewers know when you address me or I address you that we had like a hard cut before that? Of, like,
definitely. Because I'm gonna have a sneak peek for the viewers who catch our shows early in their lifetime. Like anytime there's like a cut of like the camera, we cut the audio.
Yes.
So, like
neat. One day we'll be so good that we won't cut anything. We'll do it in one take. It's going to be r/bread stapled to trees.
It's classic.
Yep. It's a Wikipedia page or a Reddit page of nothing but bread stapled to trees. Enjoy.
One of the few saving graces of Reddit. Not a big Reddit fan.
I wouldn't go that far. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like Reddit used to not be what it is now. I feel like it got pretty terrible.
It's gotten like, see, what I don't like about Reddit, we'll just have this tangent about Reddit here, is that every like Reddit page just has like a moderator whose life goal was to be a Reddit moderator for some reason.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you make a post about like, hey, here's my bread stapled to trees. And they're like, well, if you read the rules on the right side of the page, on Wednesdays, we only take wheat bread posts. And you're like, man, I just want to share the bread I stapled to this tree. Sorry that it was pumpernickel and pumpernickels on Thursdays. Like,
I don't know, man. I just don't like Reddit because everybody's mean. Like everybody just
that
like
too.
everybody just seems like they want to like get one up on. Like I don't like
The karma system, man.
for a show called Hey, I saw that on the internet. I really don't like the internet. It's not a very good place.
It can be a mean place.
It's very mean. Like I feel like maybe we should take social media that we have problem with of the week. This week we tear down Reddit. Next week we tear down Facebook.
And then the next week TikTok's gonna get banned.
Yes. We got to get that one in quick. We got to get to that one soon.
We do. When that happens, I know a guy at the FBI who works on cybersecurity. So we should have.
Are we allowed to say any of this?
Yeah, we should have him on as a guest, and he can explain why I got banned. That'd be a hit episode right there.
Yeah, that would be. We should do that.
Yeah,
if it gets banned.
If it gets banned,
when you listen to this podcast, hey, I saw it on the internet, or I saw that on the internet. I know what our podcast is called. See you later.
Wait, they gotta click the next video back here. Remember, I made it so that if you click this video,
are you really gonna cover this up, Randy?
With,
you put so much time and effort.
I'm gonna cover it up with our next video, and I'm gonna go back to last week's video that will link to this video.
It's like a Mobius strip. It's a never-ending cycle.
Never-ending cycle of circular videos.
That's how we'll jack up the views on our videos.
Yeah.
just let people watch them over and over.
Yeah, so when you're done with this video,
hopefully that gives
go
you
to
enough time
first video.
to click off, and you've already watched that one, so you don't need to worry about it. But that gave you enough time to click off before autoplay set in. So anyway, see you all later. Thank you. Bye. See ya.